hitting the gym, but your belly fat not going down, and your clothes are not fitting the way you want them to. And maybe you might be like the conversation with the guy I had the other day. He just wasn't feeling comfortable with how his clothes and his suits would fit. He's not just sweating at the gym, but even at work when he has his clothes on and in the meetings, at the conferences, he's like, man, I'm just not feeling comfortable. If any of that sounds like you, I'm going to share with you a checklist that you need to start using, or that my coaching clients use, that allow them to go from being overweight or having a lot of belly fat to being able to have a flat stomach and being able to lose weight and keep it off. Okay. I don't see a lot of trainers who really break this thing down into this much details I'm going to do in this video to give you a lot of context. Most trainers, they'll just give you like a generalized thing. They might just say eat less, move more. But in this video, I'm going to break it down to give you more context and understanding on exactly what's happening if your body isn't toning, if you're not seeing the belly fat go down and you're putting in all this time and effort in the gym. Okay. And so the first thing is this: you have to make the shift from just focusing on weight loss to focusing on fat loss. Most folks are focusing on weight loss. Most folks, they're just doing a lot of cardio to try to lose weight, and they're eating healthy. They cut back on the sugar, they cut back on the carbs, they cut back on the sodas, the alcohol, all those things, which can be cool. These things are not bad to do, but if you want to look good in your clothes and when you take your clothes off, it's a little bit more attention to detail. Okay. And what I mean by that is most people just focus on calorie intake when it comes to weight loss. But the people who get the best results, they focus on calorie and protein intake. Because you can have two people, guys. You can have one person who focuses on calories, the other person can focus on their calories and their protein. That second person is going to drop more body fat. Okay. When I say body fat, if you want to look good in your clothes and when you take your clothes off, you want to have like that definition, you want to have that tone. That's what I'm talking about. That's fat loss. Weight loss is kind of like when you lose the weight. Have you ever seen people who lose weight and they look kind of like weak and frail and maybe even sick or like skinny fat? That's what focusing on weight loss is. But when you focus on fat loss, you look good in your clothes, in your suits, in your birthday suit when you're naked. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why it's very important not just focus on calorie intake, but also protein intake. And when you do this the right way, you lean out, you tone up, you have energy, you are happy and proud and confident with how your body looks. Okay. And so that's the first shift you have to make. And along with fat loss is you're not just doing cardio like most people, you're lifting weights. Most people who just focus on just doing cardio, they tend to lose some weight, but they don't really like see that definition, that tone, that strong look that they truly want to have. But the people who do get the best results, they not only do cardio, but they lift. That way you can build muscle. As you can't tone fat. I don't hear trainers talk about this. I just hear people say lift weights, but there's no context behind this stuff. And so they call it muscle tone. Okay. If you want to have a tone, defined, chiseled, ripped, I know from my men and my women, women typically say tone, more men say like definition, cut, shredded, ripped, things like that. But it's all the same thing. It's all one and the same, guys. And so you have to lift to build muscle. It doesn't mean you're going to get bulky. It doesn't mean you're going to look like a bodybuilder. Majority of people are not even going to lift and train at that level to even look like a bodybuilder. And so, ladies, don't even worry about it because you're not going to go nowhere near like busy professionals. Like you don't even have the type of time that's required to look like a bodybuilder or the level of detail with training to look like a bodybuilder. Okay. So you don't have to worry about that. And some of these bodybuilders are taking like enhancements. So you don't have to worry about that. And for my guys too, same thing. But needless to say, if you want to look good, you want to build muscle, you want to be toned, right? You want to be chiseled, defined, however you want to put it, you have to lift. And you can't just work out. Most people who just do like random workouts, they don't have any type of structure to what they're doing. They're just kind of like winging it. Ask yourself, when you go to the gym, do you know what exercises you need to be doing to build not just your arms, not just your glutes, but your whole body to make it look the way you want it to look? Do you know the exercises? Do you know how many reps you need to do? Do you know how many sets you need to do? Do you know the right way to do cardio? Do you know how to make it fit your schedule? That way you can be consistent. Most people don't understand these things. And not understanding these things make that you're basically just having like you're working out. There's no structure. But the people who get the best results, they have structure. Even some people like myself, I'm not looking at like a PDF guide or anything like that or some booklet because I've been doing it so long. But there's structure to what I'm doing. A lot of people look at me, especially the people at the front desk at the gym, they're like, dude, how are you in here for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and you look like that? How is that even possible? And like, you just walked in. I tell them structure. When you have a plan, you get faster results. Like successful people understand professional help gives them structure. And so they get faster results and they save time. And the people who just complain, oh, I'm so busy, they don't realize when you have structure, you're able to buy back time and get things done faster, guys. Okay? And so you got to have structure. You got to have a plan when you hit the gym. You can't just be winging it, especially if you want to like look up 3, 6 months from now and you now look like you hit the gym versus hitting the gym and not looking like it, you know? Um, so that's the first thing. The second thing is this: you got to have context. You got to know where you are. Okay. It's kind of like I'm about to date myself to show my age a little bit. Back when I was growing up, we had MapQuest, and even before MapQuest, we had family in like Noonan, Georgia, and we knew where we were going. But if we had never been out there, certain people in our family, we had never been out there. We knew where we were going, but we just didn't know how long it was going to take to get there. We didn't know how much gas it was going to require to get there. You know what I'm saying? And this is kind of like the same thing with losing weight and being able to get the look that you want. Sometimes people know what the goal they want to accomplish. They know they want to lose belly fat. They know they want to have more energy, be more confident with how their body look. They know they want to be an example for their family and the people they love and care about. They know they want to have energy to excel in their career. They know they want these things. They know they want the goal. But if they don't realize where they are to be able to get to that goal, some people are right here. They're that close. But other people that are a lot further away, not realizing the amount of time and effort that's going to require to get to that flat stomach, to get to the definition or the tone. Let me give you another example. A lot of people always say, well, like guys who are like 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", they typically, when they reach out to me, they're around, give or take, 260, 280, 250, sometimes more. And they say, all I want to do is lose about 10 or 15 pounds, 20 pounds. I want to tone up. And they don't have proper context based on where they are to being able to have the look that they want. That person, 5'8", up to 5'10", 5'11", 250, or they got to lose way more than 20 pounds to get defined and toned. Way more. But a person can lose that amount of weight, 20 pounds, and then they're discouraged. They're like, dang, my body still don't look the way I want it to. Oh, this didn't work. Well, it worked, but they just don't have context on how much weight they need to actually drop. Okay. Same thing for women. Have a lot of women who reach out. 5'2", 5'3", 5'4", 200 plus pounds. And these women are heavier than linebackers in the NFL. And they're not bad. It's not say they're bad or anything like that, but they don't have context on how much weight they're really carrying based on their height. And so a woman who's like 200 plus pounds, who's 5'2", 5'3", 5'4", even 5'5". Like just to give y'all some context, I'm 5'10" and I'm 185, 190. And y'all see how I look on social media and I'm like all swollen out. It's women out here heavier than me that want to tone. And so they're gonna have to lose a significant amount of weight because not only are they heavier, they're shorter. And so when we're shorter, the weight makes us look even bigger. And so if you're a woman and you're 5'2", 5'3", 5'4", 5'5", and you want your body to be toned, you want to be happy with how your clothes fit, how you look when you're naked. You just want to be a positive role model for your family. Want your clothes and suits to fit well. You got to focus on getting leaner. Okay, you got to get around 130, 140, 150, maybe 160, just depending on how lean you want to be, how toned you want to be. But I say this because most people just don't have the context on how long it's going to take for them to get to where they want to be at. I have a coaching client of mine named Brandon Dixon inside the program. He's down 67 pounds. And initially when he came in, I believe he wanted to drop around, about 50 to 60 pounds. And now that he's dropped that weight, he realizes he still has more body fat to lose. And I believe Brandon is around 5'7", 5'8", or something like that. And for him to get that lean, defined look, he's gonna have to be around like 15% body fat or less. Like most men who want to have a flat stomach or abs, like you got to get lean. Your body fat needs to be 15% or less to not just have a flat stomach, but to start seeing definition in your midsection. Okay. For my ladies typically need to be like 22% body fat to about 18% body fat. Um, Anywhere in those ranges for the men and women, like you're gonna love the way you look. You're gonna be lean. You're gonna have energy. You're gonna be able to optimize your health, meaning you're gonna just feel better on a daily and weekly basis. Okay, so very very important to just have context on where you are. All right. Um, so I see somebody made a comment. I'll address that once I finish up with the value. So that's the second thing. Having context on where you are to realize how long it's actually going to take for you to get there and the amount of time and energy is going to require for you to get there. Like, for example, I have some people reach out to me, they say they want to lose 50 pounds in 1 or 2 months before their birthday. I'm like, okay, I love this your birthday coming up, but you don't understand how stressful that's going to be to drop that amount of weight in that short period of time. It's not that it can't be done, like you can't lose the weight in a certain time frame, but in 2 months, that's a lot of weight. Very stressful. And not to mention, a lot of these people who typically reach out to me are busy. They have demanding careers. Y'all are successful. And you don't have the type of time that's going to require to drop that type of weight. Nor do you have the mental bandwidth and energy to do that. And so what typically happens is people who try to do it anyway, they burn out because they do a crash diet or they do extreme workouts. They work out 2 times a day. They do hours of cardio a day. And for some of these people, they can drop some weight, but they rebound hard. They gain a lot of that weight back. Plus, they start binge eating. Plus, they start emotionally eating, and in some cases, they can't even stop eating because they wrecked their hormones and the metabolism because of how they tried to lose the weight. And so, you have to realize there's a right and a wrong way to do these things. Yes, you can get the weight off, but are you doing it in a way where you can keep the weight off? That's what most of the people who get the best results think about. It's not just I want to get it off fast. It's I want to keep it off. And that requires lifestyle thinking. Okay? Lifestyle thinking, guys. Um, so that's the second thing. The last thing is this. So you're hitting the gym, you're working out. What I see that happens to a lot of people, they're not challenging themselves anymore. They're lifting the same old weight they've been lifting for months, if not years. It's become like so routine, it's comfortable now. They're lifting the same. They're not like challenging their muscles. Like strength training, weight training, it should be uncomfortable, guys. If you could just, if it feels like a cakewalk, you're not doing it right. Like what you did in the past may have been challenging for you to, get stronger, but if you're not consistently exercising your potential to get to that next level, what normally happens? We think about somebody who's kind of like they just live in their comfort zone. What do we see? A person who isn't continuing to grow. If we're not growing, what's happening? We're dying. And so not like literally, but in somewhat we are. We're not like growing. We're not getting better, right? We're not improving. And so in our comfort zone, things are just kind of like atrophying. If we're not using it, we tend to lose it. And so if we're not stimulating our muscles to continue to get stronger and grow, and so we can tone, continue to eat the right way and continue to eat the right portions, the right foods, we won't be able to continue to lean out more because we're not getting out of our comfort zone. Okay. And so what I call this in the gym though is RPE. This stands for rate of perceived exertion. So how hard are you challenging yourself? Ask yourself, the last week, the last month, has your workouts been feeling like a cakewalk? Are you just kind of like going through the motions? Are you just kind of like you're doing it, but you're not like doing it at a high level? You're working out, but maybe you're not lifting heavy enough. Maybe you're giving yourself too much rest time. Maybe you're not pushing yourself on the cardio, or maybe you're not doing it for long enough. It's a lot of different ways you can increase the intensity of your workouts. Okay, and so RPE is the how you perceive the intensity of your workouts, not somebody else, but how you do. Like only we know deep down how hard we're challenging ourselves, unless we have professional help. Okay, because I remember when I used to do in person, and this is the benefit of me. Now I just coach. I coach people all over the country, but when I did in person training, it allowed for me to get context around how hard people could push themselves. Men, women, people in their 30s, people in their 40s, people in their 50s. I started to notice patterns of people. Like, for example, I could see a woman who was doing dumbbell rows and she could do 35-pound dumbbells. And then I could have a man come in and he's around the same age. And when he first starts, 25 pounds feels kind of heavy. He's getting burned out quickly. But I understand how hard I can really push that guy because I have context around, man, for a woman, a little lady who's like 5'3", 240, 140, can lift this 35-pound dumbbell and do rows. I know this guy is going to progressively get to the point where he can lift a lot more than 35 pounds. But without having that context and that professional help, for some people, they don't know how hard they can push themselves, you know? And so it's important to know. And if you don't have a professional, you just got to have some self awareness and think to yourself, like, could I have added an extra 5 or 10 pounds onto this weight, or even 15 or 20 pounds? Could I have gone slower during my reps? That way I could feel the weight. It burns a little bit more, but that's how you get better results. Like these are the things that trainers just not telling y'all, man. Like you can have two people lifting the same weight, and one could be lifting like super fast. You see the people who just kind of like bro lifting. The other person they lifting super slow and controlled, good form. It looks boring, but that second person gonna get way better results. You can have two people. I see guys like when they're doing push-ups. One guy he's doing these little half-ass push-ups, not even coming all the way up and doing full reps. Then you can have another guy who's doing, let's say, 25 to 50 slow rep push-ups, all the way up, all the way down, doing them properly. That second guy, he's gonna get significantly stronger, faster too, and his body's gonna get leaner, more toned, the whole nine. Not saying that the first person can't get to that point, but it's just going to take him way longer to get there. And so it's not about doing more, it's about doing things more effectively, like training smart and not just you thinking that you need a lot of willpower. It's not about willpower. It's about systems. It's about efficiency. It's about knowing the right way to do things to get the results you want. And when you do these things, when you use the checklist, this is how you're going to be able to look up 3, 6, 12 months from now, and your body looks completely different. You have a flat stomach, you're lean, you're toned, you're strong, more confidence, more energy. This is what this gets you. I see it over and over again with my coaching clients. And I know this can work for you too if you start to adopt these things into your training routine. All right. And even with your nutrition too. So, with that said, hopefully y'all found this helpful. I see somebody says, what about Asian? Same thing. We're all human. As long as you're human, these principles and these strategies and these different systems that I showed y'all, it'll work for you. Somebody said, I have a challenge for you. Help me lose 100 pounds. I'll give you 100. Uh, yeah, I help coaching clients drop weight without that much, without investing that much. And so, what I'll do is I'll drop a link down in the description below, and you can see the details on my coaching, see how it works. Okay. And then you can fill out the assessment and we'll talk more. Okay. But it's about having the right systems, guys. Like, I'm not winging it. I don't just be like, I'm not using theory to help my coaching clients drop 30, 40, 50. I have a coaching client in my program. She's dropped over 100 pounds. And this lady was afraid to make the investment to join my coaching program. Now she's like sending me like thank you cards and gift cards every other month. So, it's life changing. People think just about in terms of weight, but successful people understand it's not just about the weight loss. It's about what the weight loss is going to give them: more energy, more confidence, feeling proud about how they look, better quality of life. Who wants to be going to work in their clothes and their suits and they're all sweating and feeling uncomfortable because they just have so much weight on them? You know, better quality of life, better personal life, also, you know. And so that's what is truly getting them. It's not just the weight loss. And it requires having the right systems in place. And I have a lot of lifestyle based systems and strategies that help my coaching clients, even have a busy schedule, lose a lot of weight, drop a lot of body fat, and build a body that matches their success that they already have and also their ambition. Because I help a lot of go getters. So you're the type of person who looks at yourself like a go getter, high achiever, and you're busy. And you're like, man, I want to get my body, my image on point, my energy on point. Hit the link in the description below, and we'll talk more. All right, we out. Peace.